her. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph and welcome to a weekend reading vlog. So this weekend on my Patreon we are doing a 24-hour readathon, but I'm extending it to kind of the weekend because I have a 3-day weekend since it's Memorial Day weekend and I just want to get in some reading. I'm very much in the mood for some fantasy romance, so I'm starting off my readathon with Riftborn. I actually don't remember much about this book. I remember reading the synopsis and really being interested in it. I also know Rachel from Raven Haired Reader read this and loved it. And recently I got a hold of the audiobook and the ebook. So I was like, it's the perfect time. I'm in the mood for fantasy romance. Do I have a million other fantasy romances that I could be reading, especially series that are finished? Absolutely. But this is what I want to read. I will probably be going to Trader Joe's a little bit later today to get some snacks because if you know me, you know that all of my like readathons, I need to get myself snacks. I have to be fueled and ready to go. I also have like 2 other drinks in the wings. You know, you've got a Guoda, you've got your energy, and you've got a fun little drink. So I have an Olipop. I just need everybody to know that they brought back the peaches and cream Olipop. The one that was like the Barbie exclusive. Yeah, they brought it back as a normal flavor. Still slaps. Still just as delicious. I think it's creeping up to being one of my favorite flavors, but nothing will ever top lemon lime. Nothing will ever top the lemon lime flavor for me. I don't have any plans today except to sprint all day. We are literally sprinting all day on Patreon and I'm hoping to actually get through 1 book today, maybe. But something about being on reading sprints, I don't know if it's the anxiety of it. I still get a lot of, I don't know why. I still get a lot of stage fright with reading sprints. Who knows why? So I don't know if it's the anxiety or the stress of that or like what it is, but I cannot for the life of me read a ton while I'm hosting reading sprints. Other people's reading sprints, I can get a lot of reading in. Me hosting it, good luck. So I may be setting myself up today, but I'm really gonna try. Okay, so we just finished the first set of sprints and I ended up getting to chapter 6 of Riftborn. I had a pretty slow start with sprints because I ended up just kind of fucking around. We will be commencing sprints at 3, so in about 3 hours. So I'm gonna have some lunch. I'm going to play some Baldur's Gate and I will probably shower and like actually get ready for the day just to feel a little bit alive. Sometimes I have to get ready for the day to get the energy to like do things. I think maybe I'll do that first because Jared's still at the store and he's gonna go to Trader Joe's for me and also get me my Olipops and the matcha lemonades. I don't know if y'all know this, but Trader Joe's has a sparkling matcha lemonade and I tried it the other day with one of my besties at work and we both really enjoyed it. It's the right combination of lemonade and matcha, and the sparkling aspect of it, I was a little skeptical at first, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah, I just realized that like I basically sent Jared to Trader Joe's to get me drinks and not really snacks. I've been trying to get away from having too many snacks like that are chips, which is primarily what I get these days. It's been an evolution. It's been very hard, to be honest, because I love a chip. I love a chip. But while we were on sprints, I ended up getting to chapter 6 of Riftborn. I don't really know how I feel about it. The jury is still out, but also the chapters are fairly short, so I'm not technically that far into the book. And I don't feel like I have the best grasp on what's happening, but essentially we're following a main character named Thea, and she is a Riftborn. We don't quite know what that means at this point, but we do know that it has bred a lot of prejudice within the town that she lives in. There's also something a little bit different about her. There's something a little bit different about our girl Thea. She is described as almost being ghastly, like she is extremely pale, she looks like she never sleeps, she has shockingly white hair, and this obviously marks her as being different, and she does have some deadly powers, and in the beginning of this book we kind of see that unfold, but it's uncertain if that situation that happens in the woods is real or a figment of her imagination. She basically meets up with these girls who've bullied her most of her life for being different, and so they are picking on her in the scene, and she ends up attacking them with her powers, and it sort of happens spontaneously. She mentions in her head when this is happening, like, oh no, not again. So there's clearly something in the past that's happened where her powers have been uncontrollable and very deadly, and she thinks that she's killed these girls. She starts to freak out. She's about to flee the scene, and she runs into one of the princes, and he eyes her very suspiciously, but he's also like laughing at the situation, and she's confused because in her brain she's like, I'm about to die, he's about to kill me, like he saw me kill these girls, he sees that I have these powers, I'm a goner. But ultimately the prince does let her go, and he kind of laughs at the situation and walks away, and she's very confused. She thinks she's killed them. I'm under the impression this was like an illusion of some sort, like maybe he made the illusion, and that maybe the prince also has some sort of powers similar to hers. But he seems very interested in her and drawn to her, which I'm guessing he's the love interest. So far, I'm struggling a little bit with the narration of this, so I'm trying to switch to the physical, but something's going on with my Kindle right now, which was the big reason why I switched to a Kobo in the first place, is because my Kindle has been acting up. So I'm trying to charge my Kindle right now and see if maybe it just froze and then it died, because that's happened before. I don't really know. But otherwise, I'm really in good spirits. This is like the best I've felt in a little while, and I think a big part of that is just like getting to hang out with everyone on Patreon and like filming and reading. It just brings me a lot of joy. Also, Goose is having a really good day today. You need to see Goose. Look at him. That little blanket that he's laying on is actually his blanket that my aunt got for him when he had surgery. So he is very attached to that blanket. I've played a bit of Baldur's Gate, which was much needed. I needed my fix for today. It is official, I am obsessed. I am obsessed with Baldur's Gate. Don't know anything. Don't know absolutely anything about not Baldur's Gate, D&D, but I'm obsessed. You give me a good storyline and great gameplay. Even the turn-based stuff is not bothering me, and I'm gonna love the game, most likely. It's most likely that I'm gonna get addicted to it and absolutely fall in love with the characters and the story and just be obsessed, and that's all I want to do. That's all I want to play. That's all I've been thinking about. I have only read like a little bit more of Riftborn, and I'm officially into the pace of it. There have been a few things that have happened that I think are going to make the story much more interesting and maybe a little bit more unique than stories that are similar to this one, because I think this one started out fairly similar to a lot of other fantasy romance. So I'm looking forward to like getting more into the groove of this one and hopefully liking it more. Also, I have my matcha lemonade, cute glass cup of ice. We're gonna be sipping on this throughout, and I'm really adamant about getting a lot of reading in tonight. I think we're gonna be live for like 5 hours-ish, so I'm gonna try to get in as much reading as possible. I'm 23% into Riftborn, and I'm just finding my interest waning a lot. I I don't know. I just don't care. A lot of back and forth about our main character wanting to run away. Part of this is because her powers are uncontrollable and unknowable. And in this world with powers, people kind of have an affinity or a specialty in something. And the specialties range from like somebody being a really great farmer because they can seek out the best crops or grow the best crops with their magic. And this goes with really anything in this world. So her best friend, her affinity is more of like being a seamstress. So a lot of the powers that we're seeing in this world are pretty innocent and hers are deadly. So she's been trying to hide them. They're pretty uncontrollable, and this is witnessed at the very beginning of the book, like I said. So she's just having this big back and forth about running away. But at this point, the way the pacing is going and the way that I'm connecting to the characters just makes me not care that much about figuring that out, seeing that unfold. So I think I'm gonna put this down for the time being because I am getting through it slowly since I'm not as invested. And I think I'm gonna try a chapter of Blood and Steel and then Shield of Sparrows. Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry. I think I'm gonna try a chapter of both of those and see which one is sucking me in more. I did actually read Blood and Steel last year, but I only remember like the very beginning of the book and the ending twist of it all. So I really wanna reread that so that I can go into the rest of the series. And honestly, I'm leaning more towards Blood and Steel just because I would love to have a series to marathon.
Where did the time go? How do we move so far away? Holding on, how much can we both take when love is an echo? I can't hear what you're saying when love is an echo. I can't hear what you're saying.
So we're in the middle of a 50-minute sprint. I have gotten to page 57 of Blood and Steel, and while I've said that I've read this before, I'm actually enjoying this so far more than I remember enjoying it the first time, but I don't remember where my enjoyment waned a bit. I just remember that our main character Althea was like I'm not like other girls, and she wasn't really a girl's girl in this book. But I'm curious if that changes throughout the series or if my feelings about that change in here. But that's like the most distinct thing that I remember about her. And I'm kind of already feeling that, but I also understand the plight of her existence because the very beginning of this, we know that Althea's death has been foretold and that she only has a few more years to live based on this prophecy that she will die at, is it 27? I don't quite remember the age, but I know that she has 3 more years before the prophecy that has been foretold is supposed to come true. And it even begins in chapter 1 saying, Althea Zoltaire's death has been carved in stone since she was a child. That was how she knew as she crept through a realm on the brink of darkness that the world was not ending, not yet. And one of her biggest dreams in life is to become a warrior legend. But in this world, women can no longer wield blades because the last time a woman wielded a blade, it caused chaos and killed many people and disrupted so much of their livelihood. They have forbidden women from picking up steel. But of course, Althea has trained her entire life in secret to wield weapons and is quite a fierce warrior. So she is now getting to the point where it's getting closer to this prophecy of her dying, and she's like, I'm gonna become a warrior. In comes Wilder Hawthorne, who is the love interest in here, and he is a blade of Thesmar, and he witnesses her wielding a weapon. And I believe this is how it comes to light that she is a really great warrior. And I believe that this then spurs a situation where she has to show her strength and does end up getting into the academy to train. I know that for sure in this book, and it happens very early on, so that's not a major spoiler. I just don't remember like what leads to that moment, and I don't remember much of the like training aspects of this book. But that wasn't the reason that I didn't go into book 2. I think I was just like in the middle of other series at the time, and I thought that this would stick with me a little bit more. But I think because it was a pretty typical fantasy romance start in a series, it kind of blended with other things that I was reading, and that is not a negative. I don't want that to be taken as a negative because I enjoy this story and I really liked where I feel Helen Scher is going with this. I'm also just very excited because most people say that the books get better as they go, and I keep hearing that the spin-off series, that first book, The Iron and Embers, I think is what it's called, is like phenomenal. So I'm really excited to actually be liking this more this time around, and hopefully maybe potentially I'll end up marathoning this series. You're gonna hear my AC, but I have not had the opportunity to read like at all today because I have been editing all day. So the readathon kind of came to a crashing halt. It's now 6:30, so I've pretty much been editing since this morning till 6. The video's finally done. I was editing Read It Down, which you're gonna see this after I post Read It Down, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't know an episode was out, I will link it down below for you. But I have been working on that video for months now, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit down today and get it done. There's really just one clip left to close out the vlog, so I did that this morning and closed it out, and here we are. And I'm gonna get back to reading Blood and Steel. I'm having a really nice time. I think I got to 17% last night. I didn't stay up super late because I just haven't been sleeping that well, so I prioritized sleep. But yeah, I got to 17% last night, enjoying this so much more than my first read. I'm wondering if part of that is me reading this physically. I'm reading a lot of this physically instead of just via audiobook the whole time. Since my concentration has been struggling for the past like year, listening to audiobooks are hit or miss for me these days, which is a very sad revelation because I think y'all all know, if you've been around for even the littlest amount of time, I do the majority of my reading via audiobook because I just love an audiobook. I really love multitasking. I don't want to have an organic thought, so having an audiobook in my ears at all times, just the perfect thing for me. But more recently, I've been raw dogging life. I have more often than not been moving in silence than listening to audiobooks, which is just like, what? Who is she? Are you mentally okay? Although I think people who are actually mentally okay can exist in silence. So I've also just had a lot on my mind. I've had a lot to think about with work and life and family. So I think that's just contributing to it as well, on top of my attention span being shit. Speaking of, I'm hanging out with my friend Kitty tomorrow, and she recently did a video where she was trying to fix her attention span. This obviously meant like not using social media, which these videos have been something I love to watch and something I've participated in before, but I liked her version of it because she was really talking about her attention span and like how her attention span has been affected by using social media so much, but also just like life being life. And I think I'm gonna do something like that in June because I've really been struggling to physically read, which has never been the biggest problem for me. In 2020, it was a little bit harder, like paying attention to the words on page because so much was happening in the world that I could not concentrate on a page. And that's when I really fell in love with audiobooks, and that's when it became like a staple in my life. I have loved audiobooks since I was commuting because I would always listen to audiobooks on my commute. But 2020, I was like listening to audiobooks all the time, which I didn't really do before. But yeah, more recently I've been just struggling to pay attention to them completely. I will find myself going back to re-listen to things, or I'll just switch to the physical book. And I really want to get back my attention span for physical reading. And listen, I will always be an audiobook lover. I will always choose to listen to an audiobook whenever I can or have the mental capacity for it. But I do really want to get back to physically reading and like getting in the habit of physically reading, because I actually really miss dedicating time to sitting down and reading and like enjoying my book and annotating my book and just being with the book, because I multitask a lot, and I think that's a big contributing factor to my attention span. Anyway, that's a long-winded way to say I'm enjoying this more, and I think a lot of it has to do with me physically reading it so far. Wilder, though, is actually irritating me in this book so far. I feel like I love a grumpy man, I love a brooding man, but sometimes it's just like, for what? What's the reason? What are we doing? You being mean just to be mean? The girl just wants to be a shield of Thesmar, and you've been conditioned your whole life to believe one thing, and she's proving you wrong right here, right now. But you're still being broody and mean. So yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with him, but Althea, I don't remember liking her as much as I do right now. I'm liking her a lot more than my first read. And I like this world. The world is so interesting. I like the idea of these shadow wraiths that we don't know that much about right now. The thing we're really focused on in this current point in the book, and I think for a good part of the book, is the fact that women cannot wield weapons, because back in the day there was a little girl who wielded a sword and she ended up getting many people killed. And so this sort of turned into this prophecy of like, women can no longer touch blades because a woman of Thesmar is going to bring down Thesmar. It's going to be the end of Thesmar. So that's why Althea has been so adamant about picking up weapons, because she can't, and she spent her whole life admiring the shields of Thesmar / the shield bearers, and so that's what she wants to be. That's what she feels her destiny is, and she also knows she's going to die in 3 years, and so this is what she wants to do, and she's going to fight for it. She's been training her whole life in secret, but she's also proving that women have the capability and actually should be able to pick up weapons, especially because the shield bearer numbers are going down significantly, where they think they're not going to be able to protect the land and the people anymore. So it would be pertinent to let women pick up a weapon, but sexism, baby. Hello friends, it's Tuesday. It's the last day of my 3-day weekend, so it'll probably be the last day of this vlog, and I'm hoping that we can finish Blood and Steel today. I have a few plans. So I just got back from an eye appointment. I got new glasses. I will show them to you if I get them anytime soon. I'll pop up a picture, but otherwise you'll be seeing them in future videos. It was so funny. I went into that appointment and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get any glasses today, because I don't always love the selection of the place that I go to. But like, as soon as I got there, I started my appointment immediately, so I didn't have a chance to look around beforehand. So I ended up looking around after the appointment happened. Also, my eyes haven't changed too much, which is new for me. Literally every time I go and get an eye exam, my eyes have changed drastically, so this is cool. Yeah, I ended up looking around. I was hating everything, and then I found one pair of glasses that I really liked. The person that was helping me was like, oh yeah, those like totally suit you. So I ended up going for it because my insurance is actually really good for glasses. But also, this pair of glasses, you can't like fully tell on camera, but the top parts of these glasses have so many cracks, like internal cracks in it. And every time I see it, I'm like, I hate this so much. But I love the way that these glasses sit on my face and the shape just fits my face. So I was looking for something similar to this, and I couldn't find anything that didn't feel bulky, or the color was off, the shapes were weird, some of them were like way too small. I don't know. I guess, to be honest, every couple of years I go into the eye doctor and I hate everything that they have, or I love everything. Although I did have a brain blast, and I'm thinking about taking in my old pair of frames that I really, really love and having them put my new prescription in those because I love those frames. And I was looking at that brand today and they don't have anything even comparable to what I got last time. So I potentially might do that. If they do that. I don't know if they do that. I don't see why they wouldn't. So yeah, did my glasses appointment and then I'm meeting up with Kitty from Spicy Cat Reads and we are going to the Ripped Bodice and we're gonna go get coffee and just have a little day. So I'm very excited about that. I don't know how long that's gonna be, but that's gonna eat into my day because it's like 11:30 right now. I'm making myself something to eat quickly because I had not eaten anything. And then yeah, we're gonna get the little adventure day started. But I'm hoping to dive further into this today. I haven't really read much more than what I talked to you about yesterday, which I know that I didn't really talk to you much yesterday. So I think today when we go to the Ripped Bodice, I'm gonna get the second book in this series, if it's there. I think I might get Daryan too. Yeah.
Had this conversation more than 10 times. After 9, I still wish you were mine. Haven't ate in 7 days, 'cause I've been up till 6 a.m. Wrote 5 songs all just for you. 3 of them I can't bear listening to. I'd give you the world like I promised I would, even though you wouldn't do the same. I'd give you the world like I promised I would.
You're not gonna believe it. So like I said, we went to the Ripped Bodice. I had a few things in mind that I wanted. One of them was Daryan, so I ended up getting it. Kitty got a copy too. And I wanted the second book in the Blood and Steel series, The Legends of Thesmar, I believe it's called, which is Vows and Ruin or something like that. I wanted to get the second one because I'm enjoying Blood and Steel so much. They did not have it, so I just left with Daryan and a few bookmarks and stickers, which I'll show you in a second. But I was walking in the door, had my little poppy in hand. I didn't realize that it was tipping and spilled all over my book. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to tell, but this is all wet. And these pages all got wet. I was able to blow dry them immediately. And I put this between 2 heavy books for a little while, but oh my God, it's stained. This is still wet. Also, the spine like got fucked up because it's all wet. I literally just bought this today. Anyway, I bought Daryan because I've just been hearing nothing but good things about this. Very excited that they had 2 copies because Kitty and I both got one. Excited to try it out, a little apprehensive, but I obviously got a copy and ruined it. So I better like it. So that's the only book that I got because I went in with this in mind and then the rest of the Legends of Thesmar series, but they didn't actually have anything by Helen Schurer in there. So I didn't get anything else. Nothing else was calling to me, but I love their accessories, their stickers and their bookmarks especially called to me. So I ended up getting 4 things. I got 2 stickers and 2 bookmarks. So first thing I got is this little cell phone sticker. It's a flip phone that says on my way to buy books. Absolutely love this. Absolutely my vibe. And then I got the legend, the icon, Edward Skin of a Killer : and it glitters. I don't know if you can fully tell, but it glitters. And I have like a weird obsession with bookmarks and these designs especially were calling to me. So the first one is lifetime member to the Cowboy Romance Book Club, cowboy boyfriend 100% guaranteed, boots and hats required. And then it says admit one cowgirl. The second bookmark that I got, I actually love this design so much. It immediately caught my eye and I was like, I guess I'm getting another one of these. And you know what? The sentiment remains true. I love slow burn. So this is When the Slow Burn Finally Ignites. And it's front and back, which, what a luxury. As a matter of fact, where is Blood and Steel? I have the other bookmark that I got when I went with Kitty in my Blood and Steel book right now. yet another slow burn book club. I feel like I've been really good this year about only buying things I'm really, really interested in and just trying to get ebooks. I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm trying to be an ebook girly now. I'm not always successful, but I'm trying because quite frankly, it's much cheaper. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these two. I need to find a good place for them. I guess I could take them to work. I have like a sticker wall at work at my desk, and so I could add these little babies. Otherwise, I just had a really fun time with Kitty. I have not got any reading done, and I think I'm gonna go play Baldur's Gate for like a good amount of time. I also think I want to convince Jared to order some food tonight. I do. I really think that's what's gonna happen. Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah. Why are short weeks the longest weeks on earth? I turned on this camera and I realized how rough I'm looking. I have not been sleeping well for a few weeks now. I've been waking up late almost every single day. It's a epidemic at this point. It's been a rough week, and it's supposed to be like a short week because the holiday that we talked about earlier is here, and somehow we're only at Friday and I have one more day to work. The vibes have been off. Is Mercury in the microwave? I don't really know. Somebody let me know. I think I read something, but like, is it always in the microwave? Because maybe the vibes are always off. But that's probably also the state of the world. Also, it's Friday, so I think it's so funny that I was like, this is gonna be a weekend reading vlog. It's not. When is it ever? Well, I mean, I guess it kind of is because I have not updated it all this week because, again, the vibes have been off and I have just been really busy. And every time I get home from work, I just get on the couch and I play Baldur's Gate. I am so sucked into Baldur's Gate. Like, it's also a disease that I have. I love it. I'm having such a good time, but Baldur's Gate is one of those games that just like, you're not gonna read while you're playing that game. There's so much happening in the storyline. So I've really only been reading in the morning, at work when I have downtime, and at night before bed. However, I'm still really, really enjoying Blood and Steel this time around. I'm so surprised at how much my feelings have changed. And I say this every time I reread something or every time I've DNF'd something or put it down and then come back to it. This always happens. I know it's my mood. I know that sometimes I just pick up a book at the wrong time. And oftentimes I'm aware that I'm picking it up at the wrong time, but does that stop me? No. So yeah, I really think I picked up Blood and Steel at the wrong time because it wasn't that I disliked Blood and Steel. I was really prepared to move on to the next book. I just like didn't love it as much as I felt other people were, and that's not uncommon, but it just felt like a book I should love. It felt like something that I would really, really love and enjoy, and it was just like, okay. Maybe this time around, because I know what the expectations for this book are for myself, I'm having an even better time. But even our main character, Althea, is like growing on me even more in this read than she did the first read. As a matter of fact, one of the things I kept getting hung up on was feeling like Althea was not like other girls. And while I still feel that sometimes, it's not as prevalent as previous Stephanie would have thought. At this point, I'm 70% into the book. I feel like I can finish it tonight or tomorrow. Realistically, probably tomorrow. But the thing that I'm really enjoying about this book that I don't, again, think I appreciated as much the first time around is we're getting so many different things, right? We had like a little quest so that she could go and prove her point that she could be a shield bearer. And she does that, and then they journey back, and that's kind of how her and Wilder start to warm to each other, and you start to see a lot of their attraction. And then we do get like a school setting, so she's training at this point. The one thing I will say is that these characters read a lot younger than they're supposed to be. They are supposed to be in their early to mid 20s, and they do read like teenagers, especially in the school setting / training setting, because the things that unfold when they're training and together just feel very high school. It's things that I see a lot in YA. It's not really bothering me. It's just that they read a lot younger than it says that they are. So I'm curious how the other books are going to feel, because obviously like they can't stay in this setting forever.
or at least I don't think they're going to. I feel like there's going to be a lot more happening in the next couple of books, especially because the titles of the other books are alluded to a lot in this first book, which is something I also didn't pick up on until this reread. I already have the second book locked and loaded, babes, and I'm planning to try to marathon this series, to be honest with you, because at first I was reading for the new series because I've heard amazing things about it. It's like a spin-off series. I think it's going to be a trilogy, and people really, really love the characters and the couple. So I won't lie. That is why I restarted this, because I really want to read that series. And apparently there's spoilers for Legends of Thesmar in that series, so you can't just like go into that one. Although in theory, if you didn't care about the spoilers for the Legends of Thesmar, because I don't think it's like huge spoilers, but spoilers nonetheless, if you didn't care and you just wanted to go into that one, I think you can enter into the world at that place and it's totally cool. But otherwise, from what I know, it does spoil some things for the series, and I've always had an interest in coming back to the series, so why not now? The trilogy is actually going to finish up like sometime next year, so Helen, sure, keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, I have my little Trader Joe's matcha lemonade, sparkling matcha lemonade. When I went to get these for the first time, I did not know they were sparkling. I always love sparkling water as like the base for stuff, because usually it's way too sparkling water forward, if that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense, but hopefully other sparkling water haters will know what I'm saying. But these are actually pretty good. These are actually pretty good, and they're pretty refreshing. And this morning I was going to make myself just my regular matcha, my strawberry matcha, because that's just the shit that I've been on. But I really wanted something refreshing because it's getting hotter and it's going to be in like the 90s today. First day of summer is coming up. I say coming up like it's not 20 days from now, like 21 or 21 days from now. But it's coming. You know, the way that the days keep coming and they don't stop coming, summer's here before you know it. You blink and you missed it. I'm actually not a summer hater. I don't like being overheated and like sweaty and stuff, but I like the feeling of summer. And I think that's just what school has conditioned me for. Summer and fall. I like the feeling of summer and fall. Like the nostalgia that I get, the just vibes of the summer and the fall. I don't know. Something about both of them. And it definitely has to do with school and Halloween. I think I'm going to get myself a little snackaroonie, and I guess get back to work. I guess it's time to get back to my job. I'm feeling very disconnected from things. I think that's the big problem right now. Feeling very disconnected from things, and I'm feeling very sensitive. So I'm just trying to deal through that. Let me just pound this matcha real quick, and we'll be good to go. Throws up. It's actually a different time of day. I'm on my lunch break. I'm having a late lunch. It's also hot. It's hot as balls. Still looking wrecked, but I'm really excited for lunch. The one thing I forgot to mention about Blood and Steel, and this crooked angle, we're just gonna have to deal with it. I don't think I like Wilder at this point in time. Like, he's growing on me. He's growing on me because of reasons that we find out that I really do love, like how certain things are connected in this book regarding him and like Althea and people she knows and people he knows. But like, I'm not swooning after him by any means, and actually at the beginning of the book he was really bothering me. He's not bothering me so much now, but he still hasn't grown on me in a way that I'm like rooting for these two to be together. But I'm hoping that by the end of this book and subsequently in other books, I start to feel differently, because I think he has the potential of being a love interest that I really enjoy. But currently, I couldn't really care less about him. Also, I need the enemies to lovers allegations to stop. They need to cease, because these two were not enemies. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat. See you later.
I was really determined to finish Blood and Steel today because I had been reading it for far too long, especially for a reread. I read all through my lunch break. I also think when I updated you when I was going on my lunch break, I was like 80-something% into the book, because I did have an opportunity to read at work today. And so yeah, I got home and I finished this out. I decided to not play Baldur's Gate despite me really wanting to. and I finished this. It's now 8:30. I don't really have much more to say about this book because I feel like I talked it to death. On top of the fact that I mentioned I remembered very distinctly how this book ended because I kind of called it, and it's one of those things, you know, when you guess an ending of a book or like a big twist of a book, it just makes it very memorable for you. And it was also part of the reason I really wanted to move on with the series because I was interested to see how this was going to play in to the rest of the series and how character dynamics were going to change and like what our main character was going to do with this revelation, you know what I mean? My AC has perfect comedic timing because why did you turn on right now? All I can say is I'm so glad that I gave this a second chance. I've been thinking about it for months now, and I knew that I was eventually going to come back to this series, but I've kind of been putting it off because I was afraid that if I reread it, I was going to like it less than the first time that I read it. And again, I know I'm talking about this like I absolutely hated my first reread. I didn't hate it. It literally was just like a solid 3-star feeling. And I think I just went in with really high expectations of this book, which really wasn't fair to this book in the first place because when is a first book the best book in a series, right? It's just supposed to be setting you up for the series for the most part. And I think that's something that I'm trying to like contend with recently as someone who reads a lot of series. I don't know why I go into the first book with like the highest of expectations in the entire world because that's just like never, that doesn't work for me. The first book in a series usually is never my favorite. The second book, always a favorite. Not always, but like majority of the time it's my favorite. The one thing about this book though that I have to give it credit for is it begs to be read. Like I didn't want to put it down most of the time. I've just been reading slow because of Baldur's Gate, but every time I thought about reading, I wanted to pick this up. I was really excited to pick it up and I wanted to know where the book was going, and I felt that way the first time I read it as well. So I will say that Helen has a really great way of keeping you invested in the story and in the plot line. And that's all I'm gonna say. I've talked it out. I've talked it out, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me on this weekend readathon vlog that turned into a weekly reading vlog, although arguably also was not a weekly reading vlog. So what is this? It's a vlog. I hope that you had a really good week. If you want to leave emoji down below. Is there a shield emoji? If there's a shield, leave that down below. If not, you can leave swords down below. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye, friends.